Hey guys, welcome. My wife actually told me not to do that because it makes me look a bit like those scammy guru. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the very second video of mine, and to be very honest with you, the first video was pretty pathetic. Like 1 week, 12 views only. Can you believe that? Anyway, we're gonna keep on grinding. Like what they say, you gotta persevere. Alright, so this video we're gonna talk about sleep. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there don't need me to sell you the concept of sleep because of this guy, Matthew Walker. He kind of popularized the entire sleep thing, and sleep, it's now pretty much the mainstream. But I think I want to give you a bit of perspective on how sleep actually made my life better. Plus, I published an article on Medium about sleep, so why not just reuse the content? In another way, this video, it's like a TLDR version of the Medium article. If you really want to read that, I include a link below. You can go ahead and read that. However, I will try my best to provide as much value as possible, more than that Medium article, right? Yeah, let's get started. A bit of a backstory. Back in high school, I have a senior who told me that if we were to sleep 8 hours a day, in 60 years of our life, we would be like sleeping for 20 years. And that scared I don't want to use the word shit. Since then, I don't really like sleeping that much, especially when I was starting my startup back then. You know, the startup hustle culture, sleep are for losers. But an interesting opportunity arose when the pandemic hits. I have pretty much nothing to do. I was on a sabbatical. I was like, you know what? Let me try to fix this. And man, never thought that this can be so good. It's like you've been watching a normal HD TV and then you move on to 4K. The quality of life is completely different. Enough of blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about why we need to sleep. So Matthew Walker have a fantastic book and a fantastic TED Talk that I think everybody should read or watch. But again, TLDR version of this, I'm gonna just highlight quickly what are the cons of not sleeping enough. First, this is especially for men. If you routinely sleep 4 to 5 hours a night, potentially, if you go through a blood work, your testosterone level could be at the level of somebody that 10 years your senior. If you are into building muscles or you want to have kids, that is something to be very careful of. Next, if you restrict your sleep to 4 hours for just one night, you are looking at a 70% reduction in your natural killer cells. So these natural killer cells, they are kind of like an immune system thing where they go around and kill all those natural killer cells. Let me see. Okay, true. They are kind of like an immune system cell that goes around and kill tumor cells. So this is very important. Also, just one night of sleep deprivation, if you were to drive, you would kind of experience something very similar to drunk driving. By the way, it's not just these three things. Go on and watch the TED video and you will be scared. I'm sure if you're never into sleep, that might change your mind. Another reason why I think sleep is important is a kind of a car maintenance analogy that I would always like to tell friends about. Imagine that you buy a very fancy Mercedes-Benz. Would you ever not think of bringing it into your workshop for maintenance every 3 months or 6 months or so? You would not. But what about your body? Your body needs maintenance work, right? And sleep is precisely those maintenance work. I hope that I managed to sell you on why sleep is important. But if you're still on the fence about this, let me give you this last one. Almost all animals sleep in one way, one form or another. Why do you think you are an exception? Think about it. So, sleep is good, but what makes a good sleep? Wow, that is crazy. Sleep good, good sleep. Anyway, number one, non-negotiable, duration. No matter what kind of tools you use, what kind of technology you use to help with your sleep, if you're not sleeping enough, that's not gonna make the cut. Unless you have these very rare genes of which they call these people natural short sleepers, you need like 7 to 9 hours approximately. But we'll get to that in a bit. Second important criteria is regularity. If you're gonna do it once in a while, it's not gonna matter as well. Third, it's minimal interruption. If you go through a night with a lot of interruption, that's not gonna be a good sleep. And lastly, you should feel very fresh and ready to jump out of bed early in the morning. If the first thing you do when you wake up is just to hit the snooze button, most probably That was not a good night of sleep. All right, another blah blah. How do I actually fix my sleep? Let's just first talk about duration. Like I said, duration is the number one non-negotiable. It doesn't matter what kind of tools, technologies, fancy bed, fancy eye mask. If you don't sleep enough hours, it's not gonna make the cut. And like I said, normally people need like 7 to 9 hours, but what exactly is mine? Is it 7? Is it 9? Is it 8? I have a method to figure this out. It is called the no alarm method. Don't freak out. I know that alarms are very important to us. It's very important for me as well. So we're gonna do it in a very, very safe way. Pick one of the weekends or any days that you can sleep more, okay? And the night prior to that, put an alarm for 9 hours and then go to bed. And on the next morning, if you wake up before the alarm actually goes off, then note down that time, let's say 8 hours, 15 minutes, just put it down on record and repeat this process again and again for a few more times and get the average number. But what if you wake up with the alarm or even beyond the alarm time? That might mean that you might need more than 9 hours. So what you do is repeat the process again, but this time set the alarm to 9.5 hours. Extend it for 30 minutes and then do it again until the time where you can wake up before the alarm. And do the same thing as well, get the average numbers, jot it down, and over time, you will kind of find out your magic number. One thing to note is that don't feel ashamed because when I first found out my numbers, it was like 8.5 hours. Gosh, I thought 8 hours are only for babies. I've been sleeping for like 6 hours a day. Crazy. And also, take note that these numbers might fluctuate over time. In the beginning, it was like 8.5 hours, but over time, somehow, I think probably because I paid out my sleeping debt, now I need like 7.5 only. So don't be too rigid on this one as well. Be flexible, figure it out. If you think that the hours is no longer reflective to what you really need, adjust it accordingly. Second, let's talk about how to fix regularity. Like I said, if this thing only happened once in a while, there's no good to it. The very first mistake I made when I tried to fix my sleep was that I'm taking it like a job, Monday to Friday. Come on, Saturday and Sunday, you gotta give me a break, right? That is a huge, huge mistake because there is this such thing called the circadian clock in your body. This circadian clock is a mechanism that kind of tells your body when to wake up and when to go to bed. If you kind of mess it up all the time, like once in a while, 5 days a week, you sleep at 9, and then another 2 days of the week, you sleep at 11, you're gonna mess up the system. So don't do that. Make it an everyday thing. For me, it's about 9:30, 9:45 that I go to bed, and I wake up around 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's every single day. Every single day. There's no break in between, no public holidays, nada. Every single day. I want to slide in a bit of drawbacks in fixing sleep, especially with regards to this regularity thing, is that you might ruin up your social life. There are times when my parents come over for a visit, 9:30, like, bye-bye mom and dad, I gotta go to bed, and then just make yourself at home. They find it so weird. It's like you have guests in the house and you just leave them like that. But one thing I learned is that over time, people that truly matters to you, people that truly care for you, they would understand. So my mom and dad, my close friends, they kind of try to accommodate my schedule. Every time like my friends are arranging for dinner, they would try to arrange something like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock because they know that I need to be a baby and go to sleep at 9:30. Now you have your duration, now you make it every single day. And next, we will talk about the quality of the sleep itself. The key to a good quality sleep, surprisingly, does not start only the time when you actually sleep, but way before that. Me and my wife, we have this thing called the winding down routine, where about half an hour before we actually go to bed, we have a few things that we do. We would turn off all the lights in the house and leaving all those dim yellow lights. Be very careful with those white lights, or they call it the blue light emitting light sources, like your computer, like your TV, like your mobile phone. We will try to switch that off and leaving the light very cozy and warm so you feel like you want to get to sleep. Second thing is we would take a warm shower. Strangely, taking a warm shower can actually cool your body down. And cooling your body down actually helps you get into sleep. And occasionally, we drink things like the chamomile tea that could help to get us into sleep. Don't try things like wine or sleeping pills. These are, according to Matthew Walker, sedative. This thing kind of put you into a state of being not conscious, but actually you're not really sleeping. I'm still trying my best to wrap my head around this, but long story short, don't do it because that is not, even if you do sleep, the quality is not gonna be good. And one secret thing that I would do on bed every night, not what you think about, is this thing called cyclic sigh. I learned this from Andrew Huberman. What you do, it's pretty simple. You just have to breathe in 2 times. So the first time you just breathe in deep, and then when you reach out to the end of that breathe in, try to breathe in the sharp one again. And then you breathe out very slow and in an extended manner. So what does this do? This thing is a tremendously powerful thing to lower your heartbeat. No kidding. On those nights that I might have worked a bit late until 7 or 8, and when I get to bed, my head is still thinking about work and then I feel stressed. Doing a couple of these cyclic sigh, like up to 5 to 10 cyclic sighs, immediately lowers my heartbeat. 1-2 minutes, I'm already into my sleep. And it's not just to do it on bed. I actually use it in a lot of places, like before I go to negotiate for business deals, whenever I go into a meeting that I'm super anxious about. That thing can really lower my heartbeat like very fast, and I calm myself down like instantaneously. Just amazing. Give it a try. This one last note, it's a bit controversial for some of my friends and family, but I do think that it is very useful for married couples or if you are living with somebody. It is to sleep in separate bedrooms. So this is what has been practiced by me and my wife. We sleep in separate bedrooms. Not because we don't love each other, not because we want to add some spice to our relationship, although that could actually be true, but because I snore, we have different sleeping habits. Sometimes we are waking up at different times. So to make sure that we have good quality sleep, we decided to sleep separately and give each other complete space to sleep and wake up naturally with as little interruption as possible. A funny story is when we have people visiting and we don't have a lot of spare rooms and we are forced to sleep together. Those nights we have very bad sleep. So we are never gonna go back to sleeping together again. Sounds weird. I hope my mom and dad didn't see this. Now, 2 more important things to take note before you go to sleep. Number 1, make your room cold. According to research, it's just like 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. But for me, that doesn't work. That is just too cold for me. So for me, it's almost like the mid-20s or early 20s. But anyway, long story short, your room has to be cooler than usual. That, according to science, it's gonna help you to sleep longer. And one last thing you have to take note is water intake. You don't wanna wake up a few times during the night to go to the toilet because that's gonna interrupt your sleep cycle. So what can we do about it? There are a few people that are a bit more extreme. I've heard of stories of people, like after dinner, they don't drink water at all and they go to bed. But for me, that's pretty tough. So what I do every day is pretty simple. After dinner time, I will be a bit more aware of my water intake. I still drink water, but I don't take a huge gulp. But instead, I sip like a queen. We've talked about the things to do before we go to sleep, the winding down routine, right? But what about the things to do or not to do when you sleep? It's just very simple. Minimize interruptions. Make your room as dark as possible because light can actually wake you up. So pull down all the curtains and do whatever necessary. If you need an eye mask, go ahead and get it. And another big interrupter during the night when we sleep usually comes in the form of sound. So put your phone into do not disturb mode. Better put them away, not in your bedroom, and turn down anything like a TV or anything that can potentially wake you up in the middle of the night and mess up with your sleep. Let's say you follow the exact steps that I just mentioned, everything from A to Z, chances are you will not be able to fix your sleep right away. Don't get discouraged because these things really take time. For me, the first 3 months, it's a huge struggle. It's like my body is confused. Like, what are you trying to do? Why are you sleeping so early? And also probably because I've been sleeping pretty bad in the past. I have accumulated a lot of sleeping debt that I have to pay off. So that takes time. If I'm not mistaken, it took me like 6 months to really get over this and start to experience the benefits. And let me tell you again, it is amazing. It is like, sorry to repeat this again, it is like moving from a full normal HD TV to 4K. And the crazy thing is, up until today, about 2 years already after I fixed my sleep, I still get very tiny bit of dividends, I call it, like benefits from a good sleep, even until today. I need less nap, I feel more energized throughout the day. Man, it's just amazing. One last interesting point I want to bring out in case you're still not completely sold on this sleep thing is that we human beings are the only species in the entire world that we intentionally deprive ourselves of sleep. It's crazy, right? Ever since we have artificial lights, we kind of blur the line on when is the time to go to sleep and when is the time to wake up. Before that, we just go to sleep at night because, come on, there's no way for you to work anymore, right? And then you just wake up when the sun is up. But with artificial lighting, not really. And on that one, I do think that evolution will fix this over time. I'm sure that a million years from now, we humans will evolve into some superior being that we don't really need to sleep, or we can sleep on demand with the lights. But I would not rely on evolution to help us out because that takes a long, long time. So take charge today and fix our sleep. All right, that's pretty much wrap up the video for today. I hope that I've done a decent job in telling you why sleep is important and how to actually do that, especially from my personal experience. If you like this kind of content, kindly let me know in the comments below and hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, kindly hit the subscribe button as well. Let's hope that I wouldn't give up after this second video. Yeah, let's not get another 12 views or so. Let's get more. 24 views could be good. All right, until next time, cheers.